After traveling through the countryside, attacking pillagers, looters, bandits, all sorts of brigands, Calard of Garamount decided to stop in for a local drink at Cheris. His merry man stopped in at the tavern district, and there he noticed a group of people rabble-rousing, enjoying games, and having a fun bit of mirth. Amongst the crowd, he noticed one lady, a roguish sort, generous, valorous, but also cruel. She struck his fancy. In this episode today, we'll be getting some more people to join our little army here. We go about our crusade in Vlandia. Adalis the Black is an enterprising young lady, someone who strikes Calard as an individual who will help him in a number of ways, but is also a little bit different from the normal cut that he is used to. High in roguery and scouting, Adalis is going to be our clan's scout mistress, as it were. And I was going to do a little bit of a voice for her, but you know what? Let's not try and go down the road of doing female voices when my voice is very deep. Unless she's like a full-on biker. But let's have some fun with this. So again, looking at her stats, she does have a lot of athletics, and I do want to try and stick with a theme of characters that have a lot of riding for this guy. But I have some fun things in mind for some companions that I'm going to be picking up after Adalis here. But Adalis, I think, is going to be fun because she has a high bit of roguery. And this is not something that I commonly do with my playthroughs. And I think it'd be fun to play through with you guys, choosing a high roguery character. Now, this means that she's going to help me out with bribing. She's going to be able to help me out with getting better loot, technically. And she's also supposed to help me out with raiding villages. Now, Calard of Garamount doth not raid a village, but I think that having this character along with us is going to be a lot of fun because she also has a considerable amount of scouting. Also a good amount of bow, and the main two things I picked her up for were the bow skill and the two-handed. Quaris here is a one-handed master and a throwing dude, so I think it'd be really fun to kind of mix into this playthrough some really good on-foot characters that can hold their own either in melee with one-handed or with Adalis with two-handed. Addie, as I shall now call her, as she is so named. Let us equip fair Addie with nothing of worth. Okay, Addie, you're going to have to hold off. We're not going to give you a pitchfork because you are too fair of a lass. But we'll kind of see what goes on here. That did sink a little bit of our income, so we're going to have to do some tournaments. And you know what? Today, I think our big focus is going to be on doing some quests. And I want to show you guys how I really focus on quests. How Calard would focus on quests. Now, typically, of course, as a Knight of Bretonnia, he would be doing quests for the individuals who are, you know, a little bit more down on their luck. But for the focus of Mount and Blade, I look for characters that have powerful. Now, typically, it's been discovered that individuals that are landowners with powerful power typically provide the best recruits in the recruitment screen. So, I've written down a number of little towns here in the northern portions of Vlandia that are going to have a lot of high-quality recruits. So, we're going to try and do some quests with them. And I also want to do a bandit hideout or two. I think it'll be a lot of fun today. But I also think, to get us started, we should probably find a tournament or two to get going here. And that'll be another little bit of the focus in this episode as well, is looking for some tournaments. Now, do give me a heads up here, guys. This is going to be the first episode that I am recording entirely in 1440p. Usually I do 1080p and scale it up to 1440, so it does get a little blurry. But let me know how this turns out, if it has issues with any kind of stuttering, choppiness, anything like that. Let's try and figure out where are our good arenas going on. Where are some good tournaments? Up to the tournament master here. Oh, so Pen Cannoc and Maranoth. That might be a little fun. That'd be a little different here. Do something that is not necessarily Vlandian. The Pen Cannoc is right over there. Maranoth is right there. They're quite close to us. So I think we'll do the Pen Cannoc one, and we'll go over here to this region, over to Galand, to Provend, to Oxhall, and up to Ostican and Rovalt. Just this whole region right here, and kind of look for some fun quests through those areas. We're going to go ahead and travel over to Pen Cannoc, and I'll kind of talk a little bit during that time. So I think my focus here through the next couple of iterations of Calad's grand adventures. We will attack some looters for one. Let's get a good combat going. But I think we're going to really focus on trying to hone this army a little bit and get, well, we'll get to Pen Cannoc first. We'll hone this army a little bit, make it a little bit stronger and better, and we'll start to get signed up as a mercenary for Vlandia. Now, Calard is no mercenary, but it is the first step in the long road to vassalage. Vlandia. Recruit some troops? No, we don't want to recruit troops here. Tavern District, anyone cool? Tulog the Grey Falcon. What you can actually do, here's a nifty little thing. So if you want to kind of catalog where these people are as you visit them, one thing you'll notice when you press N, you bring up the encyclopedia, right? Let's just go back to the home. And you go to Heroes, and you scroll down to Wanderers. If you go to this screen, I've noticed personally, if you go to the screen the second you boot your game up, and you click any one of these characters, it's going to show you where they're last seen, right? But if you do this right when you boot the game up, prior to actually going to a tavern district, you've yet to get any rumors. So what happens is all of your wanderers populate with the last seen in a location that corresponds with their culture. So what I'm trying to say is, when you boot your game up and you want to see, for the very first time, you first create a character, and you want to see, okay, well, what kind of wanderers do I have? Don't do it yet. Go to a town, then go to a tavern district, and I feel like that then populates your wanderers with correct locations. And I could be wrong on this here, but it's just from my personal anecdotal experience. I've noticed that these locations always correspond to their culture, and I do it because I'm looking through the list right when I boot the character up, and I feel like it kind of pigeonholes this rumor when have it not be right. And I've noticed that when I actually wait a little bit and then go to the town, it populates with a set of rumors that are actually correct to where this wanderer is. But if you want to keep track of these guys in a better, kind of more succinct way, you click this and it says met before. So if I talk to Tulog real quick and I just say, you know, I'm Calard, let's skip this, must leave now. And I come back here. I just clicked him and just skipped through the conversation, basically. Go to N, then click Met Before, and I click Wanderers. Well, now I know exactly where he was. So, if you want a good way to kind of chronicle, or at least catalog all of the Wanderers that you find on the open road, I mean, I don't think I'll probably put this guy into my army ever, even though he's got some good one-handed and some good riding skill. I'd rather pick up a better character, I think, in my mind. But just a kind of a cool heads up here for kind of cataloging the location of some of these wanderers, as it can be kind of wonky when you're trying to find them across the map. In fact, before this episode started, I traveled from Jacqueline all the way up to Omar and pretty much everything in between, getting an idea of what wanderers were around me, and there wasn't really a good huge stock. I didn't go to Lagata or anything down here, but pretty much this whole region I got a good idea of what's going on. So it's a good way to kind of get a good sense of what's going on. And you can do that too. You boot up a save, wander around, check a bunch of places, write down the ones you really want to go for, then reboot the save back to the original portion to kind of fine-tune your traveling. That way things won't progress too far in the game. Let us do our first arena of the day. Well, this will be a Battanian arena, something a little bit different. So we're going to focus primarily on archery here, two-handed weapons, things that are not very chivalrous or Vlandian. But I think it'd be pretty fun, and this armor I will probably sell, because I want to keep Calard. Oh, Calard, you're not a fan of the two-hander, are you? Oh! A stab, a swipe. Take that, champion of boars. Who's this, a squire? Fair squire, no! A strike in the chest and one upon the back, squire. Let that be a squirely lesson to you. Good God. Two-headed weapons are so nerve-wracking. Because it honestly is like you fail one swipe, you could be dead. Oh good, they've given me an axe. Now the axe is going to be able to chop through some shields pretty handedly. I swipe you in the back. Oh. Don't, no. So, one thing they switched in the patch, I'm not trying to like haphazardly just swipe at him. They've stopped the blocking of companions and other agents, as they're called, by your sword swipes, and this is the same thing for the NPCs. Now, it's not a complete and utter blocking, but it will hopefully reduce the amount of collision that happens when you get in small combat or large siege battles, wherein things get hung up on those around you. So, if you were having a hard time playing because you'd go to swipe and one of your own characters would block the swipe, this should hopefully fix that. Oh, ha! The old double swiperoo again, Vlandian Squire. Calard of Garamount is not afraid of your kind. As we make a name for ourselves in Britannia, Vlandia knows the name of Calard of Garamount. But Britannia has yet to learn of this chivalrous knight of the lady. Almost got me there, footman. But Calard is no stranger to hand-to-hand combat. So a good little come up here, some nice money out of this one. 1380. Got some good renown. And let's take a look at how much that thing sells for. It was a tier 4, right? Yes, that thing actually sells for quite a bit. 914. Woodland garments on him. I think I want to kind of stick with the... I mean, I also do not personally like the look of that armor. So I want to kind of stick with the aesthetic of Vlandia for a lot of my guys. I mean, yeah, I know he's wearing a Britannian woodland garment, but at least I'm not sitting here suns out, guns out, riding through Vlandia, jousting people to death. So I'll stick with this, even though it is a little bit less in armor, but it's going to give me some good income. And we'll use that. We'll also get some more horses. I've noticed we're kind of slow in the horse department. Saddle horses pretty quick. Desert horses are pretty cheap, actually, all things considered. What am I riding? Ah, Midland's Palfrey. We shall switch to a Vlandian courser as soon as we can. It's a pretty solid war horse. If you take a look at it, it's got a nice 52 speed and good maneuver. What I like about it, though, it's got a great charge damage of 12 and a high amount of hit points. We're going to be charging into close combat, as Calard is a knight of the realm, not a man of horseback arrow jousting, as they call it, or shooting from horses. Let's go ahead and grab... You know what? I think we'll actually hold off here. Maybe a Sumpter, or we'll take this mule. Take your finest mule. And let's go ahead and fast forward as we make our way over here to Provend. Okay, we'll stop here because we are smack dab in the middle of two massive groups of bandits. 53 is probably the largest group of bandits I've seen at this point in a save ever. But I want to attack this group of 20. Get some good experience. Depending on how squirmy they are, they look to be quite quick. Now, the nice thing here is we can take a look at my speed. I'm going to pause this to kind of show this off. My speed right now is 5.2. I hold down, hover over, it's 3.4, so we should be able to catch them. And I can see that speed at a larger distance because I've got a scout assigned in my party. Assigning someone to a role that they specialize in is really helpful. Well, surrender or die, brigands. Calard is not afraid of the like of you. We shall attack them head on. I'd like to find us some Sea Raiders and some Forest Bandits, because that's going to give us some pretty exceptional gear, to be totally honest. I'm going to have my infantry go first. Wait a little bit. Then send my archers. And Cav can go in next. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I have them stacked too close, they'll actually block my archers and not swing, and I do not want that to happen. Or not, I'm sorry. Will not shoot. My first opponent. A good hit. Now, you're probably wondering, why would I want to ride in front of my whole army like that? Well, the point mainly that I'm doing here is if I do that, I split the attention of the looters, and they all don't focus and swarm over my guys. And that's actually pretty advantageous. I'm going to take a hit or two, but I'll just regenerate it. That's right, Calard. Another win in opponents that are not comparable to your skills. Ha. Take a bolt in the back, maybe one on the knee. Stop your adventuring days, you fair looter. Every time that banner comes up, I get a little giddy, I'm not gonna lie. I want to take a second. Beautiful. If you want to use the banner for yourself, you will find a link for it in the description. You go ahead and copy and paste that into this screen. It's not a mod. You just simply press B, copy the code, then press Control V in this screen, and boom, there you go. Keep in mind, though, that this will override your colors. So if you're already a mercenary or a vassal and you want to stick with the colors of your nation, it will override them. And I think that some custom banners can actually be a little too detailed. Like if I look at some of the banners across the way here, they're not that detailed, right? They're very simplistic, very primary and secondary, sometimes tertiary colors. And when you do the custom banners, it can kind of mess with the aesthetic of the game. So I would say don't go overboard with your custom banners. Because you can kind of, and personally for me, it kind of breaks the immersion of the game. Oh, another tournament. Well, we'll fight this one here, and then we'll head out over to do some quests in the western regions of Vlandia. Alright, so a good kettle helmet with mail. This will be good for Fair Abbey. Oh, no. Anything, and against a Vlandian Vanguard, of all things. But Calard does not back away! Oh! Oh, you didn't expect the fadeaway, did you, Vlandian Vanguard? I held the tack above my head for thrice seconds to trick you. The lady is pleased. Progress over here, more betting. Now, I do a lot of tournaments in the beginning portion of the game, and I'm sorry if it feels a little repetitive per episode, but it really is a really great way to earn a lot of money in the early game here. Oh. I can see that I am... Oh! Caught me in the backswing of this one. Aha. A parry. 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 Thrust. Thrust. Good. Oh. Oh. This has been a returning... Just swipe and swipe away. Oh no. We're gonna use these two, this guy. Oh! Taking a hefty chop in the face! This marks the first failure of Calard. The tournament is over. Calard has lost. That's alright. The champion of boars won this day. But let it be known, Calard will come back for another round, or bout, of the fair arena jousting. This shan't be the last you've heard of Calard of Garamount, Oxhall. We have a good wane right here as I wash away the sully of that loss. took that right in the face. Okay, let's sell all that. And actually, her hands are cold. And you could use a hood. You're quite pretty, but I don't want people to stop us on the road. You understand, Addie. You know, we are in Vlandia, and there are people that have less than a full mouth of teeth. So make sure that we get the best of it, yeah. Okay, much gold. Okay, good food here. Try and focus on food that really makes the most sense. Like, buying fish here is not going to make a lot of sense. I can go over to Galand or to Jacqueline, and it's dirt cheap there. Even some of the villages around. So often I would recommend buying food from a village and not from a major city, because you kind of, you basically get like an import tax thrown onto it, more or less. We'll buy some grain. I go up to 1. I mean, not that I'm OCD, but... And another thing I want to point out is this little thing. Production. So I can see in this town we've got a tanner, an ironmonger, and a clothier. This is going to be really important, as I'm going to come back to this town a lot when I get really heavy into smithing on this character. Now I'm going to use Merton, the blacksmith, to do such things, but I did want to kind of point that out, that Oxhall will be my location to do a lot of my big smithing across Fair Calard here. Let's take a look at Fergian. Now, again, I'm looking for powerful, typically landowners to help out of here. So this guy is a regular landowner, or this guy's an influential landowner. And if I look at recruit troops, this guy's just a headman. But if he was a landowner, this is usually populated a little bit better. And one thing to know about the recruitment screen is that if someone comes in here, like let's just say Durthert, who is the leader of Vlandia, he'll completely swipe this bar, this whole entire menu clean, because he's on a war and he's just going to eat up everyone. So what populates back in are recruits, and then depending upon, from what I've, and this is a little bit anecdotal experience, from the power level of the respective notable, these people will then rank up faster And in the case of individuals that have access to either a noble line, like your highborn youth, or your squires, or your Vizsla recruits, stuff like that, that's what will populate first, right? The Vizsla recruit will populate, and then it'll kind of upgrade itself over time. So I've noticed that, again, recruits will all populate, and then they'll get upgraded either quickly or to a nicer, higher tier unit. So again, that's why I look at the powerful type and landowners. We have a good hideout here, and Sea Raiders, while it is something I do want to attack, I think that's going to be too hard for us to deal with initially. So we'll move over here to Larn. Actually, I want to go to Provan and see if there's a way to redeem myself for another tournament. Tavern District, Aldrich the Loud. Now, see, he would be a really good little jousting dude. I mean, knight. My lord. Good riding, good polearm, good one-handed. We'll probably take that guy into our retinue at one point or another, because I would love to kind of get a good, solid, straight combat character. Someone that's dedicated mainly to help me out with these fights, because I do have some plans to do in future episodes. I want to show you guys some of the gang mechanic of jumping into dealing with some of these gang members, because if you look at these guys, or girls in this case, this is a gang leader with a regular power. But, let me see, this one's got influential power. And these are other ones are just merchants. So, by getting in a brawl with the less powerful gang leader, you actually increase relations with not just the powerful gang leaders, but the other notables. So I'll show you how we do that in another episode or so. That'll be one of the focuses, is going to towns and kind of clearing out some brigands. So that'll be kind of fun to do. But let's kind of wait here for a little bit, get some good health back. Our troops are all good. We're going to take a look at our armies in just a bit too towards the end of this episode, because we'll get some good upgrading going too. And I kind of outlined how I do those upgrades in batches. So we will kind of keep that trend going. Fair Larnac. Ah, Ubold has a bandit hideout near Larnac. So we'll have to kind of keep that one in mind. But Rafford of Larnac is a powerful landowner. And as you can see, if I get my... oh, what is that? If I get my influence higher with her or he, him, then I'll have access to these guys. But it looks like, obviously, no quests for that. Over here, L&B. And this does seem like a tedious process, but you're kind of just taking a look at the recruitment pool, what's available to you. And this can kind of curtail, making it so that you have to level up your entire army. It can be a little tedious to deal with all those situations. Nice Vlandian crossbowman. We'll take another recruit or two. But this is, I think, a really good way to keep an eye on what makes really high recruit villages. And the ones that are further away from the quote-unquote front are typically ones that lead to higher recruits, because there's no one in there to drain the recruitment pool. Alright, let's jump into some more combat. Charge! The whole army will charge this time. There's only 10 of them. That's right, knights. Lances out. I shall lead the charge with my kettle. Not to be confused with something that makes tea! Haha, looter! Take that for some chamomile. Do not hit my horse with your blacksmith hammer. It is rude to sully a horse with a What is wrong with you, squire? A blacksmith hammer. And me attacking these looters actually kind of hinders the experience gain of my my troops, but I need experience too, you know. Good. A fair victory for Calard. Nay your horse. Yes. Victory, men! A challenging opponent. To precursor the much, much more challenging opponents that we will one day fear or face. And may it never be forest bandits. Forest bandits are evil. So if you play at Vlandia, here's a cool little interesting trick here. This little horn here typically has a lot of bandits and more than likely a hideout. So let's take a look here. Ooh, I do want some Sea Raiders. They typically have really good Sturgian armor. Oh, we don't want that many Sea Raiders. Oh, we don't want that many Sea Raiders. They knew it too. They're like, well, we can get this guy. 13, 3, 2, and 1. This might be a bit of a challenge. And then the deadly thing about Sea Raiders is that they've got throwing weapons. They can oftentimes one-shot some of your units. I can catch this guy. Oh, they're going to band together. They're going to band together. But not before I catch this one. Oh. So we'll actually hold the cavalry back for a little bit.
Oh, infantry! Form a shield wall!
Make a shield wall. And I'm making them advance.
Move to enemy!
A shield wall with the majority of my troops that have no shields.
Attack!
And this can actually even be deadly for myself, so I'm going to hang back still a little bit.
Cavalry! Infantry!
I chose advance because they're supposed to stay kind of in formation, but they don't have shields. So, as you can see, my Vlandian recruits are paying the iron price here.
Kill them all!
Wow, I took a heavy hit. It is a good thing I had a considerable amount of archers. Oh! Oh! This is not going well for my band of brothers. Quickly! Quickly kill them all. Calard has a new opponent, and not just bandits, but now in Sea Raiders. What have we lost today? We've lost much. We've lost recruits and archers. But a victory nonetheless. And an extreme slowdown in frames per second. Let us leave this menu, for it is an omen of bad times. Oh my god. By the lady, that was a harsh one. That's what I mean. We have 13 wounded out of that one, so Sea Raiders can be pretty destructive to your army. But let's take a look at some batch recruiting we can do real quick. Let's put up... These are only one... Oh no, we have a lot of Imperial Archers. We'll do all them into Imperial Trained Archers, which will be good. They have some better armor, better bow skill. Now the Battanian Peasants, I feel like we have to keep as peasants. Peasants they've got their own little progression. But I think that they've got to stay that way. I feel like that's Bretonnian. Our Gallant, we could make a Knight, but I'm going to wait to pool that experience together. And our Squires are both ready to go to... I don't know why this requires a horse. They're both riding horses. Right, and we've got 10 of these with 7. This guy, let's go. We need to get more footmen together, because that way this guy won't get focused down as much. I would like to get some more crossbowmen, but I feel like I've got a good amount of archers right now between these 3 and these 5. So we'll get some. Fill that out. We lost a good amount there. I shan't lie. I shan't act like Calard of Garamount is invulnerable. He's not the Grail Knight yet. And we have that dangerous hideout of Sea Raiders, so you can see how that Sea Raider camp is something I would not want to jump into very fast. So a bandit camp near Hongard. Let's try and kind of scout around and see what that bandit camp is. Now, with the high amount of scouting we have on that one character, that should be pretty good to discover it. A bandit camp near Furton. Oftentimes, these two will overlap. So what you can do is, you can get both quests, and sometimes you'll be able to complete both at once, which is quite nice. But, oh, nice, good. So, Brungolthur of Furton has got some really good high-tier troops, and he's a powerful... Ooh, a headman, not a landowner this time. So my bit of advice earlier, backtracked by... Brungolthur's decision to lead a different life. So it's probably this location. And these guys all have bows and arrows, which will make attacking this bandit camp very difficult. And I wanted to showcase a bandit camp with you guys because it is a very tedious process, and it requires a lot of taking your time, going about it slowly, and kind of chipping away at what you can. These help with forest bandits. See, a lot of people want A lot of people want me to clear these bandits out, and it actually is important to clear those bandits out. I'm going to go ahead and rest here and talk for a little bit. But if you don't clear these bandits out, they'll keep multiplying. They're like rabbits. And rabbits throughout Bretonnia, we know rabbits through Bretonnia, they come in and out of Averlorn Forest, having getting enchanted by wood elves, and they have this crazy sex drive. And from there, they go ahead and just reproduce everywhere. So you have to make sure that you're clearing bandits out because it helps the actual local economy of every single town. If I clear out the bandits around Galand, well then Galand itself has caravans that can go to the other towns, and the other towns can send caravans to Galand without getting interrupted by bandits. That's the important thing about the bandit hideouts. And this one looks to have just gotten another group of bandit, force bandits inside of it. You'll see them coming and going. You can see how many parties are in the hideout by these little icons here. About at 90%, that should be good. And what do you know? Another tournament. So let's do this tournament. We'll take a look at our troops, take a look at our armor and our prisoners, kind of retrofit all that, and we'll give that hideout an attempt. Maybe we'll see where it's at after we do all that action and see how big the hideout is. If it's too big, we'll kind of recall a little bit because it can actually kind of bump you back in your power curve because it just punishes your men. Let's go ahead and join this little tournament. The kettle helmet over padded coif is our prize today. Oh, of course, why wouldn't I have a crossbow? I remember using one with my father. I've never used one with my father. My father hated crossbows because he was also a knight of the realm. And why anyone would ever use a crossbow is a very dishonorable weapon. That horse just flew in the air. By the lady, that horse just flew in the air. That was insane. Okay. Aha. Damn. Yes. Dishonorable crossbowman slain by another... honorable crossbowman. Help this gentleman out. Oh. Take that, Fernhard the Shark. That is your real name. Okay. I'm helping you, Sergeant. Perfect. Perfect. Oh. Oh. I didn't even see that guy's colors. Oh! Whew, that was close. Yes, perfect. I'm actually going to take a second here. We're going to go to options. We're going to go to performance or gameplay and turn this back on. Sometimes I turn it off when I do big sieges. It might help your performance, but in this case, some of the colors are a little close when it comes to those reds and greens. Oh! Farce, you, my friend! You must take the loss here. I need the money to pay the troops. You are but a champion. I am but a knight. Okay. Ah, perfect. Way to go, recruit. Taking out a vanguard all on your own. You're ready for a promotion. Do the damage. Do damage to that sergeant. He is going to kill me with his big, huge thing. Oh my gosh. Oh. I've taken a bow in the chest yet again. Calard has failed. Another tournament this day. But let that be a lesson to me. A man who fights with a crossbow will soon run out of his own luck. So, we've lost another tournament. 2 back-to-back, but that's nothing to be afraid of. Calard doesn't like this. But he's gonna go talk to Roman the oil presser and see if we can get some fun quests to do out of Galand. I don't know you. I suppose you should tell me your name. My name's Calard, sir. Ask your name. I'm Roman, a merchant here in Galand. I own an olive press here. Actually, I do know your name. I hear you recently caught some bandits. Speaking as a merchant, we appreciate any efforts to make the road safer. Oh, well, I heard you need some help with the problem, even though you can't remember my name, and now that you do. Yes, a lot of men from around here are turning to brigandage in these troubled times. They infest the hills outside of town. Now, the countryside is not safe for the village folk and traders alike. Is there a way to prevent this? Don't we have a local guard? Where is your lord? If someone hunts down a few, let's say 2 groups of forest bandits, and the word gets around, thievery wouldn't seem so lucrative. That would make would-be brigands hesitate. What do you think, sir? You think you can help us? That depends. How many men do you think are required to get the job done? I am on a quest. I can't just be romping around the countryside killing forest bandits. As you well know, they are my antithesis. I bet even a party of, 8 properly trained men, accompanied by one of your lieutenants, can take them on easily. The men could then rejoin your party after some days. I'll hunt down 2 groups of forest bandits for you. Quaris here... we got a little problem in his brain. Very good. I'll be waiting for the good news. Once you return, I'm ready to offer you a reward of 572 gold. Just make sure you defeat at least 2 forest bandits, no more than a day's ride. Alright, can do that. Easy enough. A quick spot of cash. So, I've got 20 days to do this and decide to hunt them down personally. He will reward so at least 2 different groups of forest bandits. That last kind of little dialogue box made it sound like he wants me to just kill 2 bandits. I was like, okay, well, alright. So I do not think that oh, look at this little juicy pocket of bandits. Now, they're all grouped together. Let's not be too crazy here. Get some good distance between them. Because if we attack them, all of them are going to just kind of pull into that one big horde and really slap my army around. As we've seen Sea Raiders do before. Now, the big issue I find with Vlandians over, say, like Imperial recruits, so the victor goes to spoils, aha, is that they don't have any shields until tier 3. So you are really looking at a group of men that are very hard to progress, in my opinion. You kind of have to be a little more careful with Vlandian recruits more so than any other type. We unfortunately...
Infantry!
You know what? Full charge. We unfortunately don't have many squires or gallants to really kind of help balance out the fact that we don't have a lot of shields. So we kind of do what we got to do. And honestly, oh! Gallant has taken some shots. Having peasants kind of helps to lighten the load, too. Our gallants have both taken some wounds here. But take that! Oh, my horse! Not kill a knight's horse! Your axe doth not mean anything to me, bushwhacker! Which sounded like a slur of some sort, but that's actually his name. Our only wounds are the gallants. But one got a level out of it, so we'll take it. We actually got a mountain hunting bow out of that, which is good. So let's take a look at what we can do. Our party screen real quick. As Atlas here is a bit of a marksman. We'll give her 2 stacks of arrows. Even though she's really good with 2-handed, we don't have a 2-handed weapon to give her right now. The iron armor. We will give her a 2-handed weapon, and she'll pretty much just be like a nice little 2-handed shock troop. Shooting with a nice mountain hunting bow. Should be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that one. Good. Let's jump to our party screen too. And we're going to keep this Vlandian footman. Again, we're trying to pool up the inventory here. I'm sorry, the experience here. These gallants, we've got 4 in total with 2 ready to level. We'll wait on them. And the peasants, again, I'm going to want to wait here. I don't want to make them watchmen. I think it fits to make them stay as peasants. So let's go ahead and go in here real quick. I just want to sell off these prisoners so we can run a little bit faster. Perfect. So let's get this group 6 here. Ah, they charge at me actually. Interesting. Well, we can take 13. Oh, good. Okay. Another group of forest bandits, as we well know. The people who slew me earlier, and Sea Raiders, also no longer a fan of mine. And let it also be known that certain tournaments I will no longer attend because I have lost them. But that is okay. As a wise man once said in the lands of Bretonia, why do we fall from our horse, Master Bruce? It's so that we can rise up and become Grail Knights. There it is. A plucking. We've won this battle. A good win, too. Good renown. Bushwhackers. Arrows. Now, I know what I've said, but the woodland garments are actually pretty decent armor. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Better than my armor? It kind of slightly is. But we'll put it on her. I think those are actually better than what she was wearing, too. Oh, these are better. We'll put this on her. I actually I don't know why, but I really like the Western hood. It kind of has that really cool kind of medieval look about it. I've always been a huge fan of it. Right, so we got that. We completed it, got some good money from it too, so a good win overall. Oh, wait for me. Sea Raiders. I'm gonna take these guys too. I like to try and keep recruits all, again, going at the same time so they level up together. But, you know, sometimes you win some, you lose some, and you gotta swap it all out. Get another group of forest bandits in here, and then I think we'll try and do one of those bandit hideouts depending upon how many people are left in it. Because the most tedious thing about doing those bandit hideouts is that it really depends on who is who the game decides to put in your party. You might get really unlucky and get a whole group of recruits, and they just get completely destroyed. Good. A double poke from the lance. My floating lance head, as you can well see. We're doing what we can. My lifeless, cold eyes look on upon my men. Ooh, lost some footmen. A lowly peasant. Perfect. Alright. Let us return back here, do some selling. We shall investigate some hideouts here to kind of close our episode out. Alright, so we jumped a little bit ahead just because I wanted to wait for some time and get the health back on Quaris here before we go into any of these bandit camps. And let's take a look at the Tavern District, ransom some folk. Why not? I don't want to put too many more Vlandian recruits in just yet, because I want to wait until we do this hideout first. We'll do this one over here just northeast of Gaeland, and it looks like it's actually dropped significantly in strength. Furton had a quest, and I believe, yeah, so it looks like Brungalther had that quest to recruit, or to get, to destroy that bandit camp and get good relationship with him. But if you wait too long, quests disappear. Also, if the bandit camp's strength drops, then they stop becoming a target, more or less. The quest kind of dissipates after time, so it looks like we won't be doing this for a quest, but we still will be able to ransack this hideout. We'll attack it nonetheless. Alright, so I like to... Oh, well, of course, I forgot. It's so low strength. We're jumping right to the actual duel here.
You've got quite a swole through my men there, damn you. How about we settle this one-on-one?
I don't fight duels with brigands, thank you very much. Men, charge. Coming at me. Whew. We did lose a recruit. What a worthy loss for such things. Very minimal gain, though, from, unfortunately, a very minimal bandit camp. But we did get a little increase to our what's it called around here, which is good. Now, these mountain bandits will probably pose a bigger threat, and there should probably be a quest around here. So let's go take a look real quick. Urbeck won't have one, it looks like. Maybe Aller Orston will. Maybe even Chornad. These guys produce... I try to look for anything that says, like, oh, it produces horses of some sort that typically has large landowners. Now, in terms of Chornad, this would be a pretty considerable bandit fight at 29 troops. You're only going to get about 10 or 15 of your own troops coming in with you. I think your tactics makes it so more troops come with you when you fight those hideouts. So even though I want to do a good hideout, that one might be a little too hard and might kind of rip through our guys a little bit. Ah, so you also need some help with some mountain bandits as well. Well, I find that we've done enough tournaments for the day. Let's talk to Papenbard here.
I don't know you, but I suppose you should tell me your name.
My name is Calard, sir. Are you dainty clothier? May I ask your name?
I am Papenbard, a merchant here in Jacqueline. I own a linen weavery here. I know your name, actually. I hear you've recently caught some bandits. Speaking as a merchant, we appreciate any efforts to make the roads safer.
And as Calard and Papenbard continued their conversation, it was much like one of the conversations he's had earlier in the day. And he agreed to hunt down 2 groups of bandits for Papenbard. And he offered,
once you return, I'm ready to offer you a reward of 620 gold. Just make sure you defeat at least 2 mountain bandits. No more than a day's ride.
So a nice little quest here. Kind of romp ourselves through the end of our episode. And as we know, those mountain bandits should come out of the foothills like a ravening horde. Look at them. These barbarians. We will also fight this. I try to manually fight as many of the non-looter bandits as possible. Because I find them to be terrifying. My knights gallant. The nice thing here is these are just hillmen, so it's the upper echelon ones, like the ones with the throwing spears you really got to worry about. There we go, just some good hillmen. Ooh, studded fur armor. That might go good on someone. So if I look at this group of mountain bandits, yeah, those brigands and the highwaymen are the real scary ones. So let's fight them. I know you'll never take us alive, but let me tell you, Calard of Garamount has failed against sea raiders, has failed against forest bandits, but he will not fail against mountain bandits, the most disgusting of the lot. A full charge from my men. The big thing is honestly going to be this guy on the horse here.
Cavalry, stay close.
Because the nice thing about him, too, is he will give me a horse more often than not. Oh! My horse! Good shot, men.
Charge!
Filled him with arrows. My. Calard nays. 10 kills, got some good losses there, but just wounds. That's why it's really advantageous to have a surgeon early in the game. I find them really good to kind of keeping your men alive and making it so you're actually getting levels on them and not just losing them. So Papenbard the Clothier is now a little bit happier with us, and we've gotten some good results out of this. Let us take a look. Close this episode out by taking a look really quick at some trade. What is our spoils for the day? Nothing too much better than what we're currently wearing, I'm afraid. We'll kind of let it kind of go the way. We'll wear those. Nice buttons on them. Look a little bit more dapper, I'd say. Sell the rest. Everyone has a scarf on? Good. Hold out there. Makeshift kite shield. You have throwing weapons, but I'll give you a kite shield just to kind of have something. Sell the rest of this. Sell the rest of this. Anything of remarkable worth here to buy? I don't know if this is Akaton or a Keaton. But it does not compare to my Okay, so a good amount of money. We're coming up in the world here a little bit. For troops, not a whole ton. Papenbar the Clothier didn't get much better in the renown department, but it's up a little bit more. And if we if this bandit hideout dilutes a little, well, it has. So we'll start the next episode by taking out this hideout and expanding our group just a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed this video here today as I continue this narrative campaign for Calard of Bretonnia, or of Garamount as it were. And in the next episode, we'll go through some of these skills and how I'm going to approach them, as well as dealing with our party a little bit. But thank you guys so much for watching here today. As always, please leave comments below. Let me know what you are liking about this narrative campaign and what you would hope to see more of. I'm going to be putting out a lot more of these episodes so that you guys can kind of consume them at a faster pace. There's a long distance between episode 1 and 2, but hopefully this pace should be a little bit more on par for you guys. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.